just want to say I'm sorry to all 35 subscribers, and to Adam's mom, and my mom, and probably to Doug because I didn't pass the hot dogs to him. This episode was completely my idea, and it went totally crazily out of any kind of proportion.
Have you been out here for like 35 fucking minutes? You told me you'd text me when you get out here so we could fucking film the episode. What the fuck's wrong with you? Bad enough Doug and Riley had to cancel. Not because of anything, that one of them wasn't feeling well and the other, had some other attendance. But, my God, dude. I was sitting up there for 35 fucking minutes. Is this how you get your sick fucking kicks?
I mean, basically.
Put the fucking camera up on the... God damn it. Bad enough, you all, the hardest thing about being a father to all of you is just how much you all fucking disappoint me. So fucking much. Every day, you disappoint me. And now the light's fucking not working. All right. Do you want to fucking start? Do you want to do it? It's too late now because you started already. Hello, welcome to Remember the fucking Hyphen. It's Halloween, I fucking guess. This jolly old fuck. I'm kind of surprised I was able to get that out without laughing. Hey guys, if you haven't guessed, we're talking about the Blair Witch Project. Happy Halloween, by the way. Welcome to Remember the Hyphen. Like I said, we tried getting some other people to come in with us, but
Especially considering Doug was in the promos.
Especially because Doug's going to be in the promos for this. But he fortunately couldn't come. He wasn't feeling well. Hope you get better soon, buddy. Riley was going to come, but he had some prior arrangements he had to attend to. So
Straight up simping.
Damn, dude. I wasn't going to say that, but okay.
A bunch of fucking animals. You guys get joy out of hearing me say that? I mean, yeah.
I mean, he'll take it as an excuse to drink. But anyway, so you want to talk about your little project here, since this is kind of your baby?
So Blair Witch Project is just like one of those movies that, like, I see everybody make fun of it on the internet a lot. And I mean, I make fun of it.
Yeah.
But I actually really like the movie.
To be fair, I think it more has to do with the stuff that comes after the first film. And just the fact,
like Book of Shadows,
and
the shitty reboot.
Yeah,
which I went and saw.
Yeah, you did tell me you went and saw.
It's just nothing but jump scares.
Because, like, to be fair, I think the first film is good, and to be fair, knowing what I know of like the way they filmed this movie, like the guerrilla style, like
kind of like filming. Out of Clerks style.
Like Clerks, or I don't really like to bring up this movie, Escape from Tomorrow. One of these days we should watch. I should let you watch. We should watch Escape from Tomorrow because it's so fucking bad.
I want to watch Clerks too.
I mean, I've seen.
I like Clerks
I've
too.
seen the first Clerks. I've not really seen any of the other Clerks movies, so I wouldn't be.
Clerks 2 is okay, but Clerks 2 is really raunchy.
Well, yeah. I mean, the first Clerks has him go 37. My girlfriend sucked 37 dicks in a row.
Yeah, but does the first one have somebody fucking a goat?
The floor. I have no further questions, Your Honor.
I rest my case.
I do. But getting back on track, like I think the only one part, in my opinion, of the first movie that gets like mean-spirited jokes, I would argue, is the scene we just parodied our own. But to be fair, I think it's mostly just because, bless that actress, she does a good job. But the problem is, like, her nose starts running because I think it's really cold during that scene. So like everyone kind of gravitates toward the fact that she's like, her nose is running. Because I remember, I think the first Scary Movie made a joke about that.
Everybody made a joke about it. That's this is the only downfall of us doing that parody, is that now I have to try to reset the camera.
Now the camera's all fucked up. And the worst part is, to quote whose lines it anyway? There's gonna be a crappy sequel. But anyway.
Yeah. I first watched this movie on VHS in probably about 2009.
Oh wow, you were
Well, here's the
I forget you're like 5 years younger than me.
I'd always heard of it through internet stuff and just parodies, and because I thrift store shop a lot. I actually found I kept seeing it pop up.
Yeah.
Every couple weeks, that fucking movie was in the store I went to, and so finally I said, you know what, fuck it, I'm gonna watch this movie. And so I took it home, I watched it, because I still had a VCR at the time. I still have a VCR. I still watch shit on VCR.
As do we, because my dad's the only way he can record stuff is through a VCR.
I mean, I just bought the Dolph Lundgren Punisher movie on...
You did,
we got a review. Oh. I also got Flash Gordon.
Which, to be fair, we should review, because that movie is
I want to review
awesome.
Speed 2, Cruise Control.
We're going to review Speed. We're going to do them all together. I'm not going to... We're going to at least do one good movie.
What about Waterworld?
If we do, I'm not fucking watching that. That's one of those I don't need to re-fucking watch, because
But
it does look like shit.
It does. But I watched it, and I remember the first time I watched it, I was like, does nothing fucking happen in this movie?
Yeah.
like I don't understand the hype about this. So like I watched the whole thing, and then like I got to the ending where it just stops, right? And then I was like, wow, that was kind of a lackluster movie, right? And then like later that night, I was laying in bed thinking about it, and it scared the shit out of me.
Yeah.
Like, 'cause I always have argued it's one of those movies that the first time you watch it, it just is like a movie that you have to kind of like think about.
Yeah, this is, I would argue, definitely one of those movies where
your imagination fills in the gaps.
Well, then it's kind of a slow burn where you're watching it and you don't get it, but then you think about it and you're like, wait,
yeah,
something doesn't add up here. And then you go back and rewatch it and you're like I think it's one of those movies that when you're just sitting through it, you don't notice stuff.
Yeah, and then like
on the rewatch,
I rewatched it a couple times after that. I think that week I probably watched it like maybe like 4 or 5 times.
Because like I don't think a film is bad when it's like that. I just think you have to accept that some movies are, you need to like sit down and watch it a couple times before it really hits you. I don't think that's a bad thing. I just think it, like, not every movie can be just, it grips you like when you first watch it, sort of thing.
Yeah, but yeah, like I said, I first watched it like that. I eventually got the DVD. I still don't own it on Blu-ray, surprisingly.
So when you went into watching it, did you think it was a documentary?
No, here's the thing. When I first watched it, movies like Cloverfield were coming out.
Yeah.
So like I knew what found footage was. I knew this movie wasn't fucking real.
Yeah. No, but because as someone who grew up when this movie was in theaters, there were legitimately people who, like, grown people who thought this movie was real.
To which I'm just like, why would anybody authorize that being released as a fucking commercial movie?
Especially because the actress, like, I think the week it debuted, showed up on the fucking Tonight Show circuit. Like,
yeah. What? At least it wasn't like a Cannibal Holocaust situation.
Well, no, obviously.
For those who don't know, this style of doing stuff where like you make it look real. There have been movies where people make them very, very realistic.
Yeah.
And then they pay their actors to kind of like
not
stay out of the spotlight a lot. With the case of a horror movie called Cannibal Holocaust, which I'm not going to dive into details about because the movie is really gory.
Also, don't expect a review from us.
Yeah, we're not. I'm not ever watching that movie.
No, you can watch the Cinema Snobs review of it if you want to watch it.
But there were a lot of special effects. It was made in the 70s. There were a lot of special effects in it that were like very realistic.
Yeah.
To the point that the guy, because he was a French filmmaker, he got brought up on murder charges.
Yeah.
Because they actually thought that he went to this other country and murdered people and filmed it. And because none of these other actors and actresses could be found, they thought it was real. So that guy actually had to get in contact with them and be like, "I need you guys to come back because I'm in danger of going to jail."
And this was the 70s, so that took a while.
Which a lot of people wonder how that can happen. I'm like, you can think about like at that point, like stuff like porn was being released in theaters at that point. So like I can kind of see why that was thought of. Plus, especially special effects at that point were really just starting to kind of take off.
To say nothing of the fact in that movie he kills an actual turtle and I think a couple pigs. Like he actually like has them like murder actual animals on screen. Which
PETA does not endorse.
Well, I don't endorse that film either because like,
I don't know. That movie.
You don't need to kill animals to make your movie look real.
That movie is fucked up. But
yeah,
a lot of that I think is similar to what happened with this, except the stars didn't stay out of it. 'Cause
Yeah.
like I said, the girl that plays Heather.
To be fair, I think all the actors except I think Heather were
I'm trying to find that one.
not really well known. I know Heather's actress is like a major.
I'm pretty sure her name is actually just Heather Donahue. Like I'm pretty sure they just use their
regardless.
real
I think
names.
she's the only one that ever went anywhere after this. Are you looking at the alien from Batman Alien?
I was talking about it with somebody. I'll tell you when you're older.
Speaking of, as you're looking for this, what are your thoughts about the fact that Marvel's making gonna make like a Marvel versus Alien?
I'm into that.
I'm kind of into it too, except they show Spider-Man fighting a xenomorph, and I'm like, oh, Spidey gonna die. Like I love Spidey, but I don't think he can. I don't think
Yeah, literally, the people in it. That's just their real names.
Yeah, like because I want to say she's actually like done other things with her career. Not to say I don't know about the other actors, but
She's in like 8 Blair Witch things.
well, yeah.
Yeah, she's like not in any. She's in Taken, the television show, Without a Trace. It's Always Sunny. So like nothing made. Nobody in this movie I think went anywhere.
Yeah, fair. Yeah.
I think just because the movie got so fucking big.
But yeah, but and to be fair, tight casting. But like I remember like when this movie came out, because like to be fair, found footage movies had been done before. I think like the Poughkeepsie tapes and some other found footage
but
films.
like it wasn't nearly as big
Yeah.
or common as it is now.
Right, and a lot of them were kind of Z-list schlock. A lot of it was due to the fact that in the 80s there was this craze, which most people call it shot on shitio, where
Shot on shitio?
yeah, well it was coined by the cinema snob, but basically due to the fact that like you could record with VHS tapes, and the editing process I think is not nearly as
It's crazy as
like,
actual film.
yeah. You could do filmmaking really fast, and it is easier to do. The problem is, everybody and their grandmother could buy one of those camcorders, and they would make shit like Black Devil Doll from Hell. And yes, that is a real fucking movie title. Black Devil Doll from Hell, with a tiny little black doll that screams at a woman, "Bitch, bitch, wake up, bitch, get up, bitch." I'm not even kidding. That is literally.
I want to review this now.
No,
I want to review
the
this.
guy also made a movie
This
called.
sounds fucking amazing.
He also made a movie which is supposed to be like a Twilight Zone thing called Tales from the Quad Dead Zone, which is hilarious because it has quad in the name, so you think there's like 4 stories in it.
It's just one.
There's 3.
It's false advertising.
Oh, I think probably because Black Devil Doll from Hell was going to be put into it, but he's like, no, I like that premise so much, it's going to be its own film. Bitch, bitch, wake up, bitch. Hey, bitch, get up, bitch.
I'm going to commit suicide.
To be fair, I make it a little too Kermity, but I will show you this after we're done
Please,
watching.
please do this. I want to review this. This
God.
sounds fucking amazing.
But like basically, and to be fair, I think this movie was shot on VHS tapes to give it that.
Part of it was, the other half, there were parts of it that were shot on 8mm.
Okay, well, fair, but like, so a lot like because there's all sorts of garbage VHS movies, like Las Vegas.
VHS?
Yeah, like
The movie VHS? Have you ever seen VHS?
oh, I've not seen the movie. I've heard of the movie VHS, but I actually
It was
heard
on
that
Netflix, so like a long ass.
Yeah,
time.
so
I
I've
don't know
heard
if
that
it still
movie
is.
was
I don't
kinda
have
good.
I haven't had Netflix for like 4 years now.
I've heard that movie was kind of good because it's like this collection of VHSs this cop finds, and he has to watch through them because
Yeah.
But like there were all sorts of like Las Vegas Bloodbath, which has a man murder a pregnant woman and then rip the fetus out of the woman, which
Well, thanks for that. This is the PG show, by the way.
I just went for like a minute.
Papa is gonna fuck us in the ass now. I hope you're happy.
We already say we're not family friendly, but
This is
like
a family show.
but like a lot of it was just like
Garbage.
and schlock crap because like anybody with a VHS camcorder could make them. But I think with Blair Witch they show that you could do it in a way that wasn't schlocky, because I don't think this movie's schlocky at all. I think it's very well done.
I don't understand why people give this movie shit. Because there are people that genuinely just don't like the movie, which I'm like, that's fair, but like, I don't buy into everybody just being like, well, it's just shit. I'm like, there's a little more to it.
Getting into someone who really has like the whole augmented reality YouTube thing, like with Marble Hornets and like Everyman Hybrid, I get why people don't like it, because a lot of times nothing is really happening on screen. But that's kind of
The point.
yeah, like
It's realistic.
Yeah, like because you're watching found footage. Not all of it's gonna be super imperative or have like
there's like a scene of Heather fucking like getting film while she's taking a piss. Like that's it's just fucking people goofing.
yeah, because
off.
like this movie is B-roll from them making this documentary on the Blair Witch, so you're gonna see all of it because they're playing it like this is
scenes where like they're drinking in their motel room.
Yeah.
And shit. Like it's just it'd be like if you and me filmed all fucking day.
Yeah.
With a GoPro.
Well, like, and to be fair, that's kind of the point, because like the movie opens with them being like, this is all the footage we have of them. So of course, because but like to be fair, I think there are also subtle hints in those scenes of like things are gonna go south, aside from like establishing the characters, because like that's the thing with found footage, you need those kind of things.
I'm gonna get to this in a second. Let's show off some of the stuff I brought for this.
Yeah, sure.
So again, I couldn't find my copy of the second movie, and I don't own the reboot because I think the reboot is shit. I went and saw it in the theater. I don't want to ever rewatch it.
We will talk about Book of Shadows, because I
actually like Book of Shadows.
I think I would like it more if it didn't have Blair Witch attached to the title.
Yeah,
but
I have the DVD,
which is a nice DVD.
Yeah,
I'm surprised.
I mean, it's kind of
lacking.
lacking.
Not been on Blu-ray yet?
It's on Blu-ray. I just don't own it. I've never seen it out in the wild, like at Walmart.
Okay. Because I know you're trying to get like all.
Yeah.
Blu-ray.
This is kind of interesting. I have the VHS with Curse of the Blair Witch, which is the uncensored investigation that just is behind the scenes and added shit. The cool thing about this, though, is that I bought them like this. They're combined.
Yeah.
Yeah, let's see. What does Curse of the Blair Witch offer? Takes over where the project left off. Discover the mythology over 2 centuries. The conflict between authorities and volunteers on the search. See the only piece of evidence the police found. The missing students' family photos. Actual footage from Blair Witch Project trademark. Curse of the Blair Witch contains additional documentary footage explaining the phenomenon Blair Witch Project, but does not contain the feature in its entirety.
Which, to be fair, I think it means like they had they put the deleted scenes on this and used it as more footage.
Yeah.
Which I also love that they call it The Project. Like, because this is just a documentary these college kids were going to make for their film class.
Yeah.
It wasn't like a big...
I have a thing called Sticks and Stones, which is another behind the scenes, and this was a Blockbuster exclusive, and I just now noticed this. Blockbuster, parental permission required, youth restricted product. Which I bought this for $1.99, and I've never... This isn't on the DVD. Like, Curse of the Blair Witch is on the DVD. Yeah. But... And I don't think this is on YouTube either.
Really?
So, like, I don't think this has ever been reissued. I don't know if it's because it was a Blockbuster.
Yeah.
So maybe it was some kind of a deal. Or maybe I just haven't seen it. Maybe you can buy it on DVD. Because I imagine maybe Artesian owns it. And maybe they've put it out. But it's weird it's not on the DVD.
Yeah, that is really weird.
And I don't think it's on the Blu-ray. Because I think the Blu-ray of this is just literally just the movie up-resed.
Is Artesian still around even?
I think so, yeah. Also, this is the full screen version of this.
Okay.
I don't think there's a widescreen version.
Probably, I don't know. I think it depends on when, like, because I know for a long time movies were...
This is only 30 minutes, by the way.
Yeah. Films were made for both the wide and full format because, like, people didn't have widescreen TVs for a long time. That would, like, a widescreen TV would cost you like $1,000 if you really wanted one.
Yeah. I'm looking real quick just to see if this is available.
But like, and for a while they had the film in both versions, but I think that stopped around 2010 because everyone had a widescreen TV by that point.
It's only on Amazon on tape. I don't have this. There is a book about the making of Blair Witch Project, which I might actually buy. But, so I'm just gonna check. I wonder if this is actually on YouTube. Because I feel like if it's not on DVD or Blu-ray, there might be just some rights issue with it.
I wouldn't be surprised, especially if it was a Blockbuster exclusive. Whoever owns any of those rights probably doesn't want to get
it is on YouTube. There's a couple VHS rips of it.
Okay, cool.
But it's just weird this has never been Although I wonder if maybe a lot of this shit was on Curse of Blair Witch.
Possibly.
And then this is the last thing I have for this, but this is really cool. This is a book, and there's actually a couple of novels and a couple games based on this.
And apparently comic books too.
Yeah, I don't have them. Sadly, I have one of the games, or I did at one point. I don't know where it is.
I'd shudder to think about if those comics were any good or not.
Yeah. This is just called Blair Witch Project, a dossier, and it's just more stuff about like, is this a real movie? Like, real footage, and it's like, it's got like police reports, investigations, interviews, newspaper clippings.
It's a really nice book.
It's supposed to have like Heather's journal in it. I'm trying to find like, because there's like a missing persons report in this. Or like a supposed missing persons report.
We want to both end, because like part of the plot of Book of Shadows is like it's these people going on a tour to look for the Blair Witch, because apparently that was a real thing that like
that was a real thing.
Did.
And I'm pretty sure that town fucking hates this movie because of this.
I wouldn't doubt it, because like it's like I live in Conneaut Lake. Like nobody likes when the city folk come to your little country town, because they're most of the time a bunch of assholes, because they're rude yuppies with too much time on their hands that cause a ruckus when their stupid overpriced food, because they went to like the richest places in town, wasn't good enough. Sorry, I
thank you for that rant.
I mean
you're not wrong.
I was just about to say.
I'm still looking for it, but it's like a missing poster, which that's gotten reproduced a lot.
I actually have seen that reproduced a lot.
Here it is. It was actually the next page.
Because I think there used to be a Facebook joke where they used to put that wanted poster, that missing persons poster up, and pretended they were real missing people, and people in the comments would be like, "That's from Blair Witch Project."
Yeah, and like I said, there's missing persons report. Yeah, and it's just, this is a cool book if you like the movie. I picked this up off Amazon for I think maybe $10.
Yeah,
I don't think it's in print anymore.
Oh, I doubt it's in print.
But when did this come? It probably came. This was $12 originally, so I got it for $2 less than somebody originally paid. Okay, so this came out in '99. This came out in September. This is the first printing, apparently.
Well, I don't think that the Onyx movie tie-in publishing company even exists anymore.
I don't think they do.
I've never even heard of them. So
I'm actually curious, real quick, before we dive into the movie, what this author has done. Because it does list some shit he did, but I'm wondering if
this is real,
that's
or if it's
bullshit,
if it's just stuff they made up for the book to make this more.
Yeah, that's the thing with diving into this, is you don't know what is real and what's just somebody.
I also wouldn't even be surprised that this isn't actually even a real writer. That's just
it's a real writer.
It's a real writer.
He wrote the Punisher novelization. What? I actually just bought that recently.
Wow, I didn't. Huh.
Blair Witch. Okay, so he wrote a lot of Blair Witch stuff.
I mean, judging by the amount of material he made for this, I can't blame them for not having him make more.
Yeah.
I wonder if he was one of the writers on the movie. I'm gonna explain also why he was allowed to write, like.
Let's check Amazon.
Because I was just about to say, I almost wondered if that wasn't a real name for him, that this was just like a pen name to make this more in universe.
He wrote something for Dark Angel, which I've never seen.
Dark Angel, Dark Angel.
Damn it, now we're gonna get fucking copyright flagged.
Oh.
Why you do this?
That's to be longer than like a second.
Yeah, it just seems like he does like a lot of tie-ins and stuff, but like I said, this book's kind of cool. Again, I'm pretty sure you can pick it up fairly cheap. The novels are, I don't understand why, but like the novels, like a couple of them are like $200 to get. I don't know why. I imagine it's probably because they're out of print.
That's the thing I hate about books when they're out of print. They raise such ridiculous fucking prices.
Yeah. And then people get mad that like people won't buy them for that price. Like, I know what I have. I'm like, you have paper.
Yeah.
If you have a paperback, no offense, you have a disintegrating product.
Yeah, I was going to say,
disintegrates.
hardback, I kind of get that price
Or
for
like
out of
first
print.
editions.
Or like first editions.
Yeah.
Like, I wanted to get the Don Rosa Life of Scrooge McDuck story.
Wow,
Originally,
I can't see anything like that.
originally that story was like they wanted like $100 for it. I'm like, I just wanted a trade.
Yeah, it's just some like film canisters and stuff.
So I want to say they made it seem like that she went out and recorded this in the woods on like 8mm, which I'm like,
Well, she had it. They had an 8mm with them, but they
Yeah.
shot most of it on a VCR camcorder,
yeah.
which I have one of those actually. I have an RCA one.
Do you remember the movie? Was it called Quarantine?
Yes.
Yeah, one of my favorite scenes because like it's filmed like this: a zombie attacks the camera guy, and this camera guy decides I'm gonna fend the zombie off by using the camera as a weapon.
Yeah.
And I'm like, just drop the camera and run, buddy.
Yeah. So, I think we've talked enough about some shit. So let's
Yeah.
dive into the movie. For those who don't know, who have never seen it or just don't know of the movie but don't know what it's about.
Yeah.
Besides how we just talked about it, I'll read the back of the DVD case just to kind of lead into it. In October of 1994, 3 student filmmakers disappeared in the woods near Burkittsville, Maryland, while shooting a documentary. A year later, their footage was found. Now that's basically the entire gist of the movie.
Yeah.
The rest of it is just the movie case has different stuff on it. Now prepare for a motion picture experience unlike anything you've ever seen, heard, or feared before. The Blair Witch Project follows a trio of filmmakers on what should have been a simple walk in the woods, but quickly becomes an excursion into heart-stopping terror. As the 3 become inexplicably lost, morale deteriorates, hunger sets in, accusations fly. By night, unseen evil stirs beyond their campfire's light. By day, chilling ritualistic figures are discovered nearby. As the end of their journey approaches, they realize what they are filming now is not a legend, but their own descent into unimaginable horror. And this movie, by the way, is only 87 minutes.
Yeah, it's
It's
not
an
very
hour-
long.
Yeah, it's like an hour and something.
I don't even think it's like an hour 20. I want to say it's almost like an hour. No, actually, it would be an hour
Yeah.
20. Like barely an hour 20.
But yeah, probably just because they mentioned it, probably the most recognizable thing from this
Yeah.
movie besides that is just the
Yeah, the
little stick figure, which I had a couple of these made for this. I forgot to bring
Yeah,
them.
we were gonna have this whole thing where like we were gonna have the stick figures back there the whole time, and we were gonna pretend to not
Yeah,
notice. It till, like, the
I
very
forgot
end.
to bring them. Otherwise, I would have. But like, they looked really, really good.
No,
They're
they
in-
did. Well,
if
you saw them in the.
If you watch the teasers, you've
Yeah,
seen
you've-
them.
you've seen
I,
them.
I made those. They
Yeah.
weren't very hard to make.
Because like it's just rope and a couple twigs, like. Although I think ours were a little bit bigger than the ones in the film because I want to say they're much smaller.
They vary in sizes.
Oh yeah,
and
that's
stuff.
right. They do vary.
So
in
I
size.
made a couple of big ones. Just so
Like
they'd
I
be
remember
easier
a lot
seen.
of theaters also used to just like when this movie came out, they had them
For
them
Blair
stick
Witch,
figures
the
all over
reboot,
the
movies at
place,
Meadville had them covered all over the walls.
which I'm like, thanks. I want to totally fear for my life while I'm watching this.
Yeah,
film.
but so as we described from that, just the point of the movie is that these couple filmmakers from college they set out to film a documentary for their class about the Blair Witch, which is a local legend in Maryland that basically this woman supposedly was tied up to a tree in the middle of winter and left because she was a witch, and when they went back later, her body was gone.
yeah,
And so the rumor now in this town is that if you go out at night, the Blair Witch will get you. And which is kind of common with witch stories, I've
Yeah,
noticed. As someone who's done a lot of research like folklore and stuff,
yeah.
that's a very common thing. Like they
Yeah.
use it almost as like a way to scare children into, not wandering too far or staying in the house at night. Because if you go outside at night, the witch will get you.
This is also, I think, why the movie Scooby-Doo and the Witch's Ghost got made, because it literally has like pretty much the exact same premise and takes place, I think, in Maryland too.
Yeah.
But
But
We've already reviewed
in
that,
addition to filming about the witch, they quickly discovered that there is a murder tied into this legend where this man named Russell Parr he killed a bunch of children basically. And when they found him, he claimed to have no memory of this, and the town eventually hanged him for it, which they actually mentioned in that book. They actually supposedly have courtroom testimony and shit. Which I'm like,
that was like taking place during the fucking Salem witch trials.
that took place like early 1900s.
I thought that was when the witch trials, because like I thought everyone always talked about the Salem witch trials were like surprisingly like more
The
modern
results
than
of
you think.
hallucinogenics in the water.
Well, that too, but like more because like they were taking place like not in like the Middle Ages when actual witch trials were happening in Europe.
This happens during like the early 1900s.
To be fair, it's been a long time since I've seen this movie. I remember most of it, but some of the details are sketchy in my head.
And the most important detail, which because this comes up later in the film's climax, is that they say the way he killed these children was he couldn't stand to have them look at him while he fucking killed one of them.
Yeah.
So he would have one stand like facing the corner while he killed one, and then he would kill the other one.
Yeah.
Which comes up later in the end of the film.
Very much later. Basically the climax.
Yeah. So the movie starts out very, very slow. It's just kind of like them filming stuff for this documentary.
Getting drunk.
Just kind of going around and interviewing people.
Yeah.
And then they finally go off into the woods. And the thing I like about when they go into the woods finally, there's like a really sense of foreboding. Like, these guys, they're not coming out.
They're not coming out, no.
But like I just remember the shot where they're walking away from the car and they're filming it, and it's like, bye car. And it's like you're never seeing your car again. I'm sorry.
No.
But
Does that car come back in the reboot or no?
No.
I thought they made a joke about that, like when like they find like the dude's car or something.
No. That was never. I don't know where the hell you heard that. That's not in the movie. But so what happens is they go into the woods, and it's pretty standard affair, people walking in the woods and stuff. And they run across like this like weird, like almost like an Indian burial ground type deal with like there's like all these gravestones with like stones piled up.
Should I say is based on like an actual Native American burial?
Yeah, it's also the idea of using stones at graves is also a Jewish practice.
Yeah.
But while they're filming stuff, they accidentally knock one of them over. Which there's been a lot of theories with this movie by fans, and like one of the theories is that doing that unleashed something,
or like pissed the witch off,
or we'll get into it in a minute because I know a couple of the theories about this because I was active in forums back in like 2010 about this.
I want to say one of those theories actually like was what led to the making of the reboot.
Yeah, like they took it into account. But what they quickly discover is that at night they start hearing like really weird things outside their tent, like like people like walking around, like how like when you're out in the woods, like you hear animals like twigs snapping and stuff.
But like human footprints are humans walking around is very different.
Distinct. They start hearing like a cackling at night as well. Yeah. So like every night stuff just kind of starts getting creepier until eventually what they discover is there's a whole bunch of these stick figures hung up in the woods near where they were camping.
Which I think they get progressively more and more like each night they're out there to the point like the next day they're just surrounded by like
they're really only in like the one scene.
I think they were thinking
you're probably thinking of the reboot. Or
either that or I'm just because like again it's been forever. I was pretty young when I watched this, so
but so they finally decide, okay, let's get the fuck out of Dodge. This is getting to be like first of all, like this is some locals fucking with us.
Yeah.
So they try to go back. Only it really becomes apparent they're completely fucking lost.
Yeah.
But the thing that's creepy is that the one guy says he threw the map away.
Yeah.
Because he realized he's like it's fucking useless. We're lost. The map isn't gonna fucking help us.
Which I'm like.
So eventually, what happens is they decide, okay, let's just camp for another night because it's getting late, and then we'll try to find our way back.
Yeah. Well,
that night, one of them disappears.
Yeah.
I think it's Michael who disappeared. Yeah, Michael disappears. It's either Michael or Josh. I get those two mixed up in there. But one of them disappears, and they don't know where the hell he's at. So they try to just start walking. Like maybe he went out ahead to try to find a way back out. They come across, like, so they start trying to walk back the way they came.
Right.
And they go over. They make it a really key scene where like they walk across this log to get across a creek. and then like an hour later they come back upon the same log, but they've been going straight the entire time.
Yeah, that one I remember. I do remember that part.
Which I that's really when the movie starts getting like really eerie, because stuff starts not adding up.
Yeah, like they basically went in a circle, despite the fact that it like they went like straight. They did not.
Yeah. Well, and it's just they walk for like hours.
Yeah.
When they should have hit a road, or heard somebody, or hit some like you and I know, like we live in a rural area.
Like eventually,
you get in the woods, and you keep walking. Eventually
you're
you
gonna
hit
come
something.
across a road.
Yeah, you're gonna hit something. You're gonna hit a house, or you're gonna hit a field. They're just hitting nothing but woods.
Yeah. It's like real woods, like the way humanity has like terraformed like the United States. Like there's no like it's usually like patch of forest, a highway, patch of forest, a highway. Like here they're just going through like woods, like it's crazy. And not only that, like I think they have some markers that they set up too, and they keep hitting the same markers over and over, like the log.
So they finally decide, okay, let's camp for the night, basically.
Because they got nothing better to do.
They wake up the next morning, there's like a bundle of sticks outside their tent. And they open it, and there's like, I've never been able to really figure out what the fuck this is. It looks like teeth.
Yeah.
But it's wrapped in a piece of the guy that disappeared shirt.
Yeah.
So they instantly like somebody killed him, basically. So that's really when, and this is like, I think like maybe like 25 minutes before the end of the movie. So this is when shit really amps up at the end of it. It kind of leads into that famous scene where Heather is like talking to the camera, and it's like right in her face and stuff. Because I want to say that's like, that happens shortly before the real end of the movie, is that they're in the tent and something starts like, if you've ever camped with people like pushing their hands up against your tent, it makes a distinctive look to the tent.
Right.
That starts happening to them, so they actually bolt out of the tent, and they actually run into a house, which is like completely destroyed and stuff, and they start looking for the guy that disappeared, because they've been able to hear him screaming, basically. And so they kind of look through the house. They get to the basement, and Heather finds that the other dude is in the corner, like one of the kids, and then the camera drops, and that's the end of the movie.
Right. Implying that like Heather got murdered or
and there's no other explanation. Like when you drop the camera, you don't really see anything.
Yeah.
It just shot. Like it's like it shuts off.
Yeah.
That's it. That's the whole movie. There's no epilogue to it. Nothing. Which a lot of the docs try to, I think, add that.
Yeah,
they try to add like an epilogue to it.
Because I think a lot of people were annoyed at just how abrupt the ending is.
Which I actually like.
Yeah, I do as well, because like it leaves so much up to the imagination of what exactly happened. I mean, granted, a lot of it you can imply from like the
sequel.
Well, that and like, I mean more like just from like them hearing about the myths of like the Blair Witch, that the Blair Witch has possessed this dude to like kill people. Although you talked about one of the theories when I thought you were going to bring up with the log, because one of the bigger theories about what the witch actually did to them, which became, I guess, canon thanks to.
Yeah, one of the biggest theories, because there's a lot of fan theories with this movie, obviously, just because of how abrupt the movie is.
Yeah.
One of the biggest theories I've seen is that the Blair Witch, like if we're going to go by the canon, because the 2013 movie is sadly canon, which is stupid, but it's basically like time travel.
Yeah.
Like by knocking over the stones, it puts them back at the time of those murders before, which is why them walking so far and not hitting anything makes a little more sense.
The road, they got the road. It's just the
road isn't there anymore.
It doesn't exist. It won't exist for like another century at best.
Yeah. So that's one of the theories. Another one of the theories is that just the locals killed him.
Yeah.
Which I've never really seen any credence in that theory.
Then like
that's pretty stereotypical.
Yeah, well then like it wouldn't explain how like they walked in a straight line and then kept coming back to landmarks.
Yeah.
Like you could kind of see that because of the fact that they come to an abandoned house instead of the house looking like it would have.
The time travel theory is backed up as well by Blair Witch 2, because when the scene where they party in Blair Witch 2, that's the ruins of that house.
Okay. I forgot about
Which,
that
if you
part,
remember,
yeah.
there's nothing left of that house.
Yeah, it's supposed to be
But when
like,
you see it in Blair Witch 1, it's a full house that's still standing.
Mm-hmm.
So it...
Well, then, like, the fact that, like, they don't, like, they watch the film backwards and it shows that, like, what actually happened, like...
Oh, in Blair Witch 2, when they
like,
watch stuff backwards.
Like, implying that, like, either, like, time is being
For those who
altered
don't
through
know,
their memories.
Blair Witch 2 Book of Shadows on VHS, because it's not really possible on DVD.
Right.
It had the VHS version had this really cool feature where you would rewind the tape, and if you were still playing it, like, and just hit rewind, you would be able to see stuff in the film that you wouldn't be able to see if you were just watching it playing forward.
Right.
Which, there was a certain technique that was used for that. I don't remember what it's called.
Yeah, I think it's almost impossible to do now.
It's impossible to replicate on digital because digital doesn't work that way.
Right, because I think basically it's like a layering thing. Like, that's how, like, subliminal messages are put into films like into things as well too. Is that it's unless you know what you're looking for, you're not going to be able to pull it out. But with digital, it's not nearly as easy to do.
Yeah, but just not to dive too much into it. Like I said, there's a couple spin-offs to this movie. There is Blair Witch 2 Book of Shadows, which is about a totally different group of people.
Yeah.
And it's after the movie came out. It's okay. Me and Adam have discussed it. And it's a good movie.
It'd be better if
it wasn't a Blair Witch movie.
Like, it's like Halloween 3 in that regard. Like, I think Halloween 3 is a great movie. It's just, it shouldn't have been called Halloween because, like, it has nothing to do with Michael Myers. I mean, granted, that was back when they wanted Halloween to be like
an anthology
series, but then it all became about Michael. But, like, Book of Shadows, not only that, the other problem, because, like, at least Blair Witch, the first film, is unique in the way that it was shot. You know, they actually shot the actors filmed that. They actually were like airdropped like the lines and the scenes they had to film for like each day they were out in the woods.
Yeah,
that's actually how they were able to make this look like it did. I think aside from like some of the other camera people coming in to like do the hand pushing with the tent and such. But you know, so like it's at least unique and it has a really unique premise.
Blair Witch 2 just is
it's just a
more
horror. It's a straight horror
generic.
Yeah, it's really generic.
And then Blair Witch 2013, which I don't think you've ever seen.
I've not seen at all. I just remember hearing.
I'll be honest. I went and saw it. It did scare me, but here's why. It honestly is just jump scare.
Yeah.
After jump scare. After jump scare. Every 5 minutes, you're getting jump scared.
And a lot of that has to do with the fact that modern shot or found footage does that now. Yeah. Because like Paranormal Activity made that popular. Yeah. Which, to be fair, I like the first Paranormal Activity before it got franchised. I also prefer the deleted ending for that film than I do the...
Which, I don't even remember half the fucking plot of the 2013 movie.
Yeah, it's like... It's
I remember it's about Heather's brother looking for his sister.
Yeah.
And it introduces the time travel thing into the canon. But other than that, the movie is just really generic. Like I argue it's even more generic than the second movie.
Which, yeah, and that movie is bad, especially because it's very 2000s.
The only thing that genuinely freaked me out about it was they actually do show the Blair Witch.
Yeah, which
is really fucking creepy the first time you see it, and then the more you look at it, it's just like. It's one of those cases where we had so long to imagine what the Blair Witch actually looked like because of the descriptions in the books and the movie and the games, that when they actually just kind of did a canonization for it doesn't live up to what whatever you imagine in your head.
I actually argue if you're going to do Blair Witch movies, you don't show the Blair Witch because, like, you're not really supposed to know if the Blair Witch is real or not. Like that, like... You know, like that, like that's why, like, it ends the way the first film does, because you're not supposed to know what is actually happening.
Yeah.
Like, and I think that's a problem with a lot of found footage films. Is they want to explain what actually is happening.
Sometimes the found footage is better off if you just don't explain it.
Yeah, like the only movie I think that makes sense for is Clover, and that's just because Clover is about people filming like an alien invasion.
Yeah, and I mean, like,
makes sense.
I'm sure some will argue like, well, then why like the docs and the book? I'm like, well, it's not that.
They're more supplementary material.
Well, it's like you don't have to watch them or you don't have to read them.
Yeah.
You know, like if you're someone like me who just likes the movie and like just wanted to read more and stuff about it, those are cool to have, but it's not necessary to understand the plot of the movie.
It's there for, again, supplementary material. Like, it's not like Star Wars where sometimes you need the expanded universe material to actually make sense of it. Although I really wish we could have gotten some supplementary material for fucking Book of Shadows, because my god. Like, unless you know about the rewind trick, which I didn't. Like, that movie...
I remember telling you about that. You thought I was bullshitting you at first. And I'm like, no, that's a real thing. I've done it.
Because, like, the movie is
when you came over, I tried to find it, remember? Because I was like, I want to show you this.
Like, if you wouldn't mind permitting me to, like, kind of... Like, because this movie's so fucking bad. Like,
Blair Witch 2, you mean?
Yeah, Blair Witch 2, sorry. Book of Shadows. Like,
well, we were talking about 3 different movies at one point, so...
For one, like, the acting is abysmal in that movie. Like the professor that, or, like, the college professor that was there with, like, his lover.
Yeah.
His pregnant lover, which I'm like, why would you take your pregnant, like, girlfriend or wife to, like, a horror thing? Like, but, like, one of my favorite scenes is when they're getting in... Because, like... The movie is interspliced around, like, because basically it all takes place in, like, the past, in media res. Like, basically these cops are interviewing these guys because they're wanted for all these murders that happened in the film. And my favorite part is when the dude starts crying, because it's the fakest crying I've ever seen. He's like, I swear to Christ. He sounds like Miss Piggy.
I remember that. I remember what scene you're talking about.
I swear to Christ. Like, there's a scene where, like, one of the dudes, like, it opens, like, one of the main characters, like, in, like, an insane asylum getting a tube shoved up his nose and, like, liquids are being poured into his head or something like that.
I remember that. Like, I remember watching it and be like, oh, because I can't stand that kind of shit.
All the characters are so fucking...
I like the goth chick in it. That's
I was
really
just about to say,
it.
the goth chick is so fucking stereotypical.
And Erica is the Wiccan in it, which I like those two.
I don't know. The goth chick's about as stereotypical as Abby from NCIS, if I'm being honest.
They really, like, stole some shit from The Craft on that one.
Oh, they so did. I do remember the Wiccan chick. Because
Erica. I'm pretty sure her name is
Although,
Erica.
to be fair,
she gets killed off really, really early.
Yeah, she does. Because, like...
And then she, like, starts showing up as, like, a ghost.
Like, doesn't she also, like get completely buck-ass naked at one point?
Yeah.
Like,
well, and... She does that, like... You ever seen... Horror movies do this a lot. As soon as I describe it, you'll know what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
They film somebody walking towards somebody in full... Like, normal. Then they fucking reverse it for the movie, and it just looks so fucking weird.
Yeah.
Like, a lot of times they'll do it for, like, somebody that's possessed.
Yeah. Which... And to be fair, like, there's some weird things, I will admit, that are kind of cool. Like, there's these dogs that attack him at one point, but then, like, they're not actually there. Which I was like, okay, that was kind of cool. And, like, I like the idea that, like, they can't remember anything, but, like, they play the footage backwards and it shows what actually happened. But, like...
a lot of that is implying the Blair Witch possessed them.
Yeah, and, like... But, like, the problem is there, like... Because this movie's so frenetic, and I also want to say it also tried doing, like, you had to go to, like, a website to actually, back then, to see what happened.
For Book of Shadows?
Yeah, I thought there was a website.
I've never heard of that, but I know admittedly less about Blair Witch 2 than I do Blair Witch 1.
Well, I thought I remember at the end of the credits, so, like, go to bookofshadows.org or something like that to, like, uncover the mystery, and I was like, nope.
Yeah, it does that. I remember that now.
And... Like, it does all these things, but the problem is it's so... At least with Blair Witch 1, it's pretty easy to piece together what happens in the film. Here, I don't know what the fuck happened, like, for most of it.
Yeah.
It's really... And, like, you know, like say what you will about the acting in the first film, at least like they're like
It was pretty
realistic and believable. Here, the acting is just like again that guy.
It's either off the rails, or
that's not the right tape. Someone fuck with this tape. Someone fuck with this tape. Like I don't know what he does with his face, but he starts like spitting and frothing. Like
I remember that.
I was like, what the fuck are you doing,
it's either
dude?
way over the top.
Yeah.
Or it's just so out in the gutter that it looks awful.
Like the scene where the Goss chick goes to the gas station and all the people in the gas station are just acting off their nutter.
Is that the one where she stabs the dude in the throat?
Yeah,
which is still.
Yeah.
I actually argue that movie that's not actually what happened.
No,
that's just. I don't understand how to explain that movie.
No, because like again, it's trying to play with the whole. Is the Blair Witch is altering something like time or their minds, but like here it's so vague. I don't care because it's just so nuts. To say nothing of the fact that they kill the pregnant woman and it's really uncomfortable especially because I think she miscarriages too. I'm like, thanks. Just do all the uncomfortable things while I'm watching this very derivative horror film.
It has been so many years since I've watched the second one.
I just have
the most I remember about it. It's got a fucking good killer soundtrack too. I will say it has a good metal soundtrack.
Yeah, it has a really good soundtrack.
Rob Zombie's on it.
Yeah,
I
don't know how well it meshes with the whole horror film thing, but at least it has decent music to get through.
There's some good music in it.
And to be fair, I don't think they ever bring up what exactly the Book of fucking Shadows is. Because again, this movie, I think, like, was not supposed to be a Blair Witch film. I think it actually was supposed to be about the... And to be fair, I get Book of Shadows, like, it's a great, like, you know, referring to, like, a witch's grimoire. But there's no witch book that they...
Yeah.
Then, like, the Wiccan, they do, like, the crazy, like, Christian where, like, they're praying, like, only here she's, like, praying to, like, I forget what goddess she's praying to. I think it's like Hestia or one of the Greek goddesses.
It's most likely Hecate.
It probably Hecate. It might have been Hecate. Well, I don't even think that I'm pretty sure this movie doesn't even.
Which is the one I pray to.
Well, to be fair, I don't think this movie knows enough about the Greek pantheon to even know who Hecate is. Like, not to be fair, I love Hecate. Hecate is one of my more favorite of the gods because like she's the goddess of magic and the phases of the moon.
Yeah, for those who don't know, I'm Wiccan. So, hi.
I just like Greek mythology. But yeah, like, cause like the second film is just so weird and just nonsensical, and I feel bad because like I think it was a little too ahead of its time as part of the problem because like it wanted you to do all these experimental things with it, but
I think its downfall was it tried to do too much different than the original movie.
Yeah, because to be fair, I do give them credit for preying on the whole, or not preying, but like playing up the whole idea of, well, you know, the people actually think this was real, so let's have it be about these people looking for the Blair Witch. And that's a cool premise, but like it's just so not done well. And the reboot, as he said, is just even worse.
It's just fucking terrible. Please don't watch the reboot.
I argue
it's just not worth it.
I argue out of any of them, just watch the original.
Yeah. Or you can play some of the games, because there are a couple games. One of them pretty recent on PS4.
It'd be kind of cool.
I've never played it, but I've heard okay things about it.
Is if the SCP guys that make the SCP stuff, they actually did one about the Blair Witches being like one of the SCP like things. That'd be kind of cool.
So I went on the Blair Witch Reddit to see if I could find some stuff from the comics. I did find some, but yo, look at this dude's yard. If I was that guy's neighbor, I'd be scared shitless.
I'd be like, honey, we're moving. Oh, that's why I don't know much about
Dark Horse. It's a Dark Horse comic.
I actually kind of want to read these now because Dark Horse does a lot of good stuff. Like their Godzilla comics are great. Well, some of them are. Some of them are kind of awful. But I think we can kind of start wrapping up. Just because like, we've kind of, do you think eventually they'll try to make another Blair Witch movie, or do you think that it's kind of ran its course? Do you think we'll have to wait till like we're old people?
I don't want to say never because I've seen crazier shit come to light.
Yeah.
But I think the last movie underperformed.
Yeah,
really bad critically and commercially that I think I think you Artesian/United Artists, I don't know if they're gonna be so quick to greenlight another one.
Yeah.
I mean, I think that if they did another one and they tried to make it a little more like the first one rather than just try an all-out horror approach to it,
Yeah.
I think it could work. And I mean, especially with like the reboot, the parts of it I did like. They did use the found footage aspect. They were using like people with their phones or people with GoPros, and so you still got the found footage thing.
It's better than like the later quarantine movies where they just stopped doing the recording.
Yeah, but thing. I feel like if they want to make another one that's like really good, they need to try to just do the found footage thing. But I think I almost wonder if they don't want to do that because they don't think they can top the first one, which I don't think they can.
No, I think so as well.
So I don't know.
It also doesn't help that I don't think found footage is really a thing anymore. I feel like the Paranormal Activity movies kind of killed that.
No, that did, and then do you remember for a while it was all shaky cam found footage stuff
like
I think they really oversaturated the market with it.
Well, then the other problem is eventually you just get sick of shaky cam and found footage because like
it actually makes me not feel good when I watch
the movie
it.
Quarantine does that, but that's supposed to be like a news channel that's doing that. That's supposed to be a professional fucking camera guy. But you mind if I show them what I mean?
Yeah, just do not close the thing.
No, I know. Well, now, I know he was possessificated. If I had known she was possessificated by the devil, why are you looking at my dick, cameraman? Cameraman, come back from my dick. You're supposed to be a professional. Why are you recording my thumb, cameraman? I'm talking about how my daughter was possessificated by the devil. Pull it back. No, don't go to him because he's not talking right now.
That is how that movie acts, honestly.
And I'm sorry, I don't understand like why if you're gonna do footage from like a real like it's supposed to be like
you
a
have
news
to make it look realistic.
Yeah, like
Blair Witch, it looks realistic.
Yeah, because they're out in the fucking
That's
woods.
why people thought it was real. Is it looks realistic?
But like if you're doing news footage, get a fucking tripod. Like I can forgive Cloverfield for that because they're recording on their phones.
Yeah,
they're recording like an alien invasion. They don't got fucking time to set up a shot.
Yeah, they don't have time to frame shit. What are you talking about?
Like that, like you had... Hell, Marble Hornets does a fucking better job at that. Marble Hornets was done on a fucking shoestring budget. But, anyway, I'd like to think that maybe eventually they'll make something that'll actually be fitting for fans, especially if they stick more to the original film.
To be fair, I did hear good things, too, about the video game. The most recent one. I haven't played it, but, like, I've heard good things about it.
But, and to be fair, I worry that found footage will become like some other like phenomenons that only become like things you see on the internet, like again like Marble Hornets or like other like found footage ARGs. But
yeah,
I certainly like to hope not, because like I enjoy found footage when done right. I kind of maybe see more branching out like how Chronicle was a found footage film, but it was a superhero movie. Like I wouldn't mind seeing it doing
something like that.
Yeah, like not always has to be horror related, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
But anyway, guys, that's going to do it for this episode, and that's going to do it for this Halloween, because when you come back, we're going to start Mobad Movember. So I hope you're all ready, Gothamites, because we're going to bring you not the podcast that you wanted, but what you deserved.
And as always, I'm Average Joe Squad.
And I'm Zongetsu 134.
And as
always,
we ask you to remember the hyphen and take care.